Welcome, everyone. We are live. Happy Saturday. If you're here, if you're watching, if you're enthusiastic, if you have questions about quitting smoking, give me a wave or a thumbs up in the chat. Let me see that you're here. And of course, start typing your questions. I'm here to answer your questions, help you, and really, my goal is to help you achieve your goal. And if you're here, it means that you want to quit smoking, you want to quit vaping, you want to be free from nicotine. So, for you to make the most out of our time together, I have an invitation for you. And the invitation is to be active because we remember more with active listening as opposed to just listening in the background passively. So we want to do active listening here, and active listening has a response. What this means: be engaged, be present, be here for this experience. So if I ask you a question, type your answer in the chat, share your questions. If I ask you to repeat something, repeat it. It's for your retention, okay? That's how you're going to make the most out of our time together. And I promise you, if you have a question, chances are that someone else has that question as well. So find the chat, take a moment to locate it. Let's make sure this is working properly, that we're on the same page. Take a moment to find the chat and type a thumbs up or hi. And while you're doing that, I'm watching the chat, so I'm waiting to hear from you. I want to talk to you about some mistakes around quitting smoking, because we all believe that quitting smoking, quitting vaping is hard, right? But the reason why quitting smoking seems hard or has been hard in the past is because we're making certain mistakes. And I want to talk about some of those mistakes today. Okay, let me see. Amaranta says, hi, welcome. Tam says, hi. Hi, Astrid. Hi. I think it's the taste of cigarettes that keeps me smoking. I cannot taste the cigarette. I have no idea what a cigarette tastes like. So I have a question for you so I can better understand how to help you. You say that it's the taste of cigarettes that makes you smoke, but you have no idea what a cigarette tastes like. So how is the taste of cigarettes keeping you stuck? How do you feel this is an obstacle for you? Let me know. I am more alone than I have ever been all of my life. I'm sorry to hear that. Smoking a cigarette is the one time I don't feel alone. I want to quit because I know it's good for me. Where do I fall? So, first of all, I'm really sorry to hear that you're alone, but I want to tell you that you are not alone in feeling this way, feeling that a cigarette is a companion, and feeling like you're stuck. You're in good company and there is a way out. So here's why a cigarette feels like a companion. Now, we can all agree that a cigarette is a brainless piece of rolled grass and chemicals with zero IQ. Zero. Like nada. Zero. Yet, somehow that cigarette, that vape pen, seems to be doing so many things for us. It seems to be doing everything for us, right? It's part of our identity. It's our companion. It's how we cope with boredom, with loneliness, with stress. It's how we socialize, how we drink coffee, how we wake up, how we sleep, how we relax. It's everything. Why? It's not because of the contents of the cigarette, because the contents are just chemicals. It's because throughout our lives, a cigarette has been present in any and every situation. So, with time and repetition, we developed an association between a cigarette and different moments and emotions in our lives. So, by doing that again and again and again, our brain, what happens? It creates an association. It pairs activities, a cigarette with coffee, a cigarette with the emotion of loneliness, a cigarette with feeling stress, our brain is pairing those two situations and considers them as one. The brain does that to save us energy because, for example, if I keep on smoking while drinking my coffee, the brain starts thinking that, oh, those two things go together, and it creates an association. So, with time and repetition, all our situations, our entire life, all our emotions feel incomplete without the cigarette. Not because they are, but because we have taught our brain to expect a cigarette in those situations. So it's just behavioral and mental associations. It's not because of the contents of the cigarette. And it's important to realize that, because this truth is the foundation of everything. Does that make sense? Now, let me know in the chat. Now, the other thing that happens is that when we smoke, we take a moment to connect with ourselves, because we sit with ourselves, and that helps us meet our needs to not be lonely, because we connect with ourselves. But again, it's not the cigarette that allows us to feel less lonely. It's the fact that we take a moment to be with ourselves. The cigarette could be replaced by anything. It could be replaced by meditation or journaling or mindfulness. So there is nothing special about the cigarette. It's the meaning we have attached to this cigarette that gives it all its power. Let me read more comments in the chat. Welcome, Teresa. Hi, Nancy. I'm on my way to my freedom. Amazing. That's what I want to hear. And what a great way to phrase your journey. I'm on my way to my freedom. Very, very important. Because one of the mistakes of quitting smoking is feeling and acting as if we're about to lose something. But if we make this shift and start focusing on everything we're gaining, our freedom, our health, our peace of mind, then suddenly quitting smoking becomes much more exciting, and we are in the right mind to make that happen. So I love that you said, I'm on my way to your freedom, because you are. Simona, welcome. Welcome, Simona. Great to see you. Reading more questions. If my biggest trigger now is having a cigarette in the morning because I equate coffee with a cigarette, should I quit coffee for some time as well until I'm ready to be triggered and not go by? That's a great question. That's a great question. And something I was sharing with my quit smoking program members last Wednesday is precisely about that. So to answer your question, the short answer is no. We don't want to avoid our triggers. Because when I avoid my triggers, what happens? The moment I have another trigger, I want to smoke again. So it's like I'm trying to avoid, to treat the symptom instead of treating the problem. The coffee is not the problem. Our triggers are not the problem. The problem is what? It's the programming, the desire, the associations we have inside our mind. So, like I always say, avoidance backfires. Presence rewires. The only way to reclaim your freedom and not live in fear of who and what may trigger you, because that's not freedom. That's deprivation. That's not being a happy non-smoker. Nobody wants to live in fear. So the only way to reclaim your freedom is to change your associations with coffee and a cigarette, to change your smoker's program, because that's the problem. Because when we start smoking or vaping or use any form of nicotine, we soon develop the smoker's program. And this is like a lens that distorts our reality with lies. We start thinking like a smoker, feeling like a smoker, and of course, acting like a smoker. Think about it like this. Imagine you have a supercomputer, and that amazing, brilliant computer has a virus. It has a malware. It has dysfunctional program that messes up everything. So the same way our brain is like a supercomputer that has a virus, and that virus is the smoker's program. And here's why quitting smoking has been hard in the past. Quitting smoking is hard when we just try to stop the act of smoking, our behavior, avoid our triggers, use willpower, put on a nicotine patch, chew a nicotine gum, just push through with willpower, hoping, wishing, praying that our desire will somehow fade away with time. Quitting smoking is hard when we just stop the act of smoking, but in our mind, we continue to think and operate and feel like a smoker. And when I think like a smoker, when I feel like a smoker, when I see value in smoking cigarettes because I believe they give me something, then it doesn't matter how long I abstain from smoking or how many triggers I avoid. I'm always going to go back to that smoking behavior because I never removed my smoker's program. When I was a smoker, I used to think, and tell me if you can relate to this. When I was a smoker, I used to seriously think to myself, I wish there was a rehab for smokers where I could just escape, go away, and detox, like escape my triggers, escape my life. But of course, we cannot escape the triggers that are emotional and that are inside of us, number one. And number two, what happens when we're back to our routine? All our triggers come back because the trigger is not the problem. It's how we think about smoking, the associations we have with it. This is the problem, and this is the solution. Because when you break those associations, what happens is you can drink coffee without thinking about a cigarette. At first, it's without missing a cigarette, and with time, without even thinking about it. Right now, after all these years of being smoke free, I'm drinking a coffee and cigarettes never crossed my mind. But there was a time where I couldn't have a sip of coffee without smoking a cigarette. So our brain changes if we let it change. And everything that used to remind us of smoking can go away. Yeah. Okay, let me read more. So Tam says, hi, every time I listen to hip hop music, I see smoking, and I see smoking, I crave, I start having a willpower. Stress also brings cravings to me. Nancy, I always fail. I don't know why, but I can be, I don't know why, but I can be a week without smoking. So again, what I just said is helpful to you as well. We cannot live a life where we avoid our triggers and we live in fear of seeing someone smoking, seeing cigarettes in a video clip or in a TV show. And right now, especially lately, I don't know if you've noticed that, it seems like so many TV series and movies have cigarettes there. So we cannot live in fear. We cannot wait for our external reality to change so that we're going to quit smoking. Because this doesn't happen. The only solution is for us to change our relationship with smoking and break the habit, cognitive and behavioral change. Because then you're free. Then you're free. Doesn't matter who is around you, doesn't matter who smokes. You're free. Cordell says, thanks to you and me, I love that. I'm 40 days free. I'm learning so much more about my mind power each day. Amazing. And I love that you're thanking yourself. You deserve all the credit. You made it happen. And huge congratulations. Amaranta says, oh yeah, Astrid says, I thought that too. I quit marijuana and alcohol, but I cannot quit smoking. So many times when we have broken free of other destructive behaviors or other addictions like alcohol, marijuana, whatever that may be, smoking seems to be the last thing left. And when it's the last thing left, it feels like We rely so much on that one thing, and it's harder to let go. But I want to offer you a different perspective. The fact that you've been able to quit alcohol and marijuana shows that you're more than capable to quit smoking too. So it's not about you cannot. Don't internalize the fact that you have not quit smoking yet. It's not your fault. It's not your personal flaw. It's not about you. It's all about how we approach it. Amarante says, thank you for this perfect explanation. It really helped me understand. I'm really glad. Okay, Lady Webs, welcome. I'm new here. Where can I access your program? So the CBQ Quit Smoking program, you can find more about it on the cbqmethod.com website. This is our step-by-step process where it's a done with you program where I take you through every step of change. Now, if you want to learn more about the program, if you want to learn more about the CBQ method and my approach of how we help people break free, I'm running a free quit smoking masterclass where I explain the 3 quit smoking secrets that big tobacco doesn't want you to know and how to break free. So if you're interested in starting there, go to cbqwebinar.com. My team can also share the link. This is going to give you a great explanation of how we do things here and why this works. But if you're interested in joining the program, go to cbqmethod.com and you can learn more about the program there. It's an amazing program. You're very welcome. And of course, if you have any questions, that's what I'm here for to answer. Just put them in the chat. So, the first mistake of quitting smoking is thinking it's about losing something, losing our crutch, losing our identity, losing our comfort. But when we think about quitting smoking as losing something, it's only because we're thinking about it with the mindset of a smoker, with our addicted mindset. And the mindset of a smoker has one goal and one goal only. Can you guess what it is? One goal. The smoker's mindset has the goal of to keep us in our addiction, to keep us smoking one cigarette after the other. So of course, that's why we rationalize why I need the next cigarette. I cannot quit smoking. I'm going to lose all those things and my life is going to be horrible. But in reality, quitting smoking is not about losing something. It's about gaining everything. Gaining yourself back, your freedom, your health, your energy, your confidence. As a psychologist, and after helping people quit smoking for the last 10 years, quitting smoking is the one thing that changes so many other areas of our lives, and it gives us a source of self-confidence. And that confidence comes from doing something that we once thought hard or even impossible. It gives us such a tremendous confidence that nobody can take away from us. Nobody can give that to us, and nobody can take it away from us. So that's why a lot of our members, after quitting smoking, they go on and tackle other goals in their lives that felt hard or risky or impossible before, because they started trusting themselves more and saw that, wow, I can really do anything. And this is the best feeling. Teresa, this is not just confidence, but empowerment. Absolutely. I think I love this word, empowerment. Yes, because being addicted to smoking is disempowerment. Because smoking, vaping, reaching out for a cigarette, hitting our vape, what happens with time is that our relaxation, our focus, our ability to socialize becomes conditional to something outside of us, a cigarette. So it disempowers us. It entraps us. So of course, breaking free from that is a huge, huge source of empowerment. Lorianne says, I know I throw away all of my smokes, ashtray, and lighters, but immediately panic because I think I need to keep some around for comfort so that I don't feel deprived. Should I keep one pack on hand? So that's a great question. And I can totally personally relate as well. When I was a smoker and I was trying to quit, I was throwing away my cigarettes because I was hoping that not having cigarettes around would overpower my desire for them and therefore make me not smoke them. And then in other quit attempts, I would have a cigarette, a pack of cigarettes, or a pack of tobacco with me just in case. But both of those approaches miss the point because if I want to smoke, if I am addicted, if I'm mentally addicted, if I miss it, if I still see value in smoking, then it doesn't matter whether I have or don't have cigarettes with me, I am going to find a way to smoke. And maybe this has happened to you in the past. And if it has, you're not alone. So it's not about throwing away the cigarettes or keeping cigarettes around. It's about, why do I want to smoke? Why do I feel deprived without them? It's because I'm mentally addicted. So the problem is not the presence or absence of cigarettes, is my addiction to them. So we don't want to treat the symptom, we want to treat the problem. It's like, think about it like this. Let's say I am under the weather and I have a virus and I'm not feeling well and I have some symptoms. I have headaches and I'm tired and I sleep all day and I have cold sweats, whatever my symptoms may be. So, yes, I can try to treat the symptoms, but unless I treat the problem, which is the virus, me getting healthier, the symptoms will reappear in other forms. Addiction works the same way, and everything works the same way. If I'm addicted to smoking, not just physically, but most importantly, mentally and behaviorally addicted, like if I see value in smoking, which means I feel deprived without it, if I treat my symptoms, my triggers, cigarettes being around, using willpower, trying to stop myself from smoking, eating my feelings, eating my cravings, I'm not addressing the real problem. So it means that another symptom will appear sooner or later. So it's not about having cigarettes around, it's about going inside. Why do I want to smoke? What value do I see in smoking? What does it offer me? Because, of course, we know smoking is bad for us. Then why do we do it? It's really not because we're self destructive, it's because it offers us something. And realizing what that something is for you is the very, very first step to starting to address your mental addiction and therefore have your freedom. Because once you're mentally free, it doesn't matter if cigarettes are around, it doesn't matter if you throw them, if you have them, if someone smokes next to you, you don't want it because you just don't do that anymore. And that's the state of empowerment and freedom that we're aiming for here. Does that make sense? Reading the chat. Simona, how are you doing, Simona, by the way? Let me know. Okay, I'm reading your comment. I always thought it's impossible for me, such a hopeless feeling. Now with your program, I believe I will finally stop. I know. And how amazing it is to start accessing that belief. Because of course, when we start the quit smoking process, we start with disbelief. It's not possible, or it's not possible for me. I will be the exception. But by going through this process of the program, you start increasing your self-belief. And I loved reading the post you shared in our members group, Simona. Of course, you're going to make it happen. Louise, welcome, Louise. Louise says, I feel empowered every day because of CBQ, as it has given me my freedom from nicotine and from sugar. I am truly living my best life because of CBQ. I know, Louise. Huge congratulations. And by the way, Louise and I did an Ask an X interview. You can find it on our YouTube channel. And Louise is sharing her very, very inspiring journey of how she really transformed her health. And She feels her best right now. Just very, very inspiring. Highly recommended. I get inspired watching it. Tam says, true, listen, speaking, seeing, even when watching a movie, I understand it better when I don't smoke. Yes, we don't want to live in fear. We don't want to live in fear because if our cravings and our desire to smoke is dependent on things outside of us, then we're always in a state of deprivation and fear. And nobody wants to live like this. Quitting smoking is not about that. Christine says, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, Christine. I want to quit by the end of today. What is the number one piece of advice after watching your videos? What would it be like when it feels impossible? Would I just tap into my why? Thank you. So, Christine, that's a great question. And I don't know exactly what changes and preparation you've done. So I'm gonna try to give you a full answer so I can serve you. Okay. The first thing to ask yourself is, how am I mentally addicted? Do I still want to smoke? Do I still see value in smoking? Because the second mistake of quitting smoking, I started sharing some mistakes since the beginning of the call, is just planning our quit around our quit date, saying I'm going to quit smoking, and then hoping after our quit date that somehow we will not want to smoke anymore and we're going to push through and white knuckle it, and somehow the desire will fade away. But that never happens because the transformation doesn't happen after our quit date. It happens before. It's like having a caterpillar that wants to transform, that is bound and meant to transform into a butterfly. What happens? First, the caterpillar forms the cocoon and it becomes a butterfly in the safe space of the cocoon. Then it comes out of the cocoon and it's a butterfly. So the transformation, the moment it comes out of the cocoon, is the visible moment of change. But the transformation into a butterfly happened when? Before that moment. So transformation in anything happens the same way. We have to first break our attachment to smoking, our mental attachment to smoking, and then quit, because that's what makes it easy. So my number one thing for you is to ask yourself, where does smoking still live in my mind, in my emotions, and in my life? And if the answer is, I am ready to quit smoking. I'm just ready. I don't see value in smoking. I am done. Then just go about your quit date. And you're going to be absolutely fine. Your why matters. But what matters even more is making sure that you have broken your mental addiction. Because our motivation, our why, however powerful, is just one step of quitting smoking. It cannot overpower our addiction. Simona says, I cannot wait to be free. I am amazing. I am a little ill, but happy otherwise. I'm running out of notebooks. Haha. Days seem slow. Amazing. I'm really sorry to hear you're ill, but really happy that you're embracing the process and you're giving it your all. You're giving it your all. That's amazing. Lorian, it does. Okay, but before, awesome. Simona says, yeah, I love these Ask Connects interviews. I don't watch anything else lately. Oh, I love it. And I look forward to posting more. Aren't they very inspiring? What I love about the Ask Connects interviews from our CBQ Quit Smoking and CBQ Food Freedom Program members is that they're all so different. And every person is sharing their own perspective, unique perspective and experience. It's just amazing, so inspiring hearing from other people. I love them. I'm glad you enjoy them as well. Yes, my team shared the link to Luis's Ask Connects interview. It's amazing. It's amazing. Very, very inspiring. Astrid says, yes, it's inspiring. So, mistake number one, looking for the right time, waiting for external circumstances to change, to be aligned, for us to do the thing that we know we want to do. But that means we're always powerless, and always our health, our freedom depends on something outside of us. So when we're looking for the right time, we're just looking and looking and looking, because the right time is not something we find, it's something we create. And it's something we create with our preparation. With our preparation. I see that all the time. And I've done that. So there is no judgment here. I see that and I know it because I've done it first. We are saying, we're looking at our calendar and we're saying, okay, which day should I quit smoking? I'm going to choose that date because the date is meaningful, or because I have that event afterwards, or because that's a good time for me to suffer through the withdrawal. So we are choosing when we're going to quit smoking based on something external, which is the date. But quitting smoking is not about the date, it's about the preparation, because really the transformation happens before the quit date, not after. And that is the biggest lesson I've learned the hard way over the years. First we change, then we quit smoking. Otherwise, what happens? I'm going to quit smoking on Monday, or I'm going to quit smoking because I'm running out of cigarettes anyway. So circumstantial choice. And then what happens? I am left with my addiction, fighting my cravings, using willpower, avoiding my triggers until I cannot take it anymore. But that's not sustainable. Even if I'm able to use willpower to resist 1 cigarette and 2 cigarettes and 3 cigarettes, and I'm able to push through and last, because last is a word for willpower, even if I'm able to last for 3 weeks without cigarettes, eventually something will happen in my life and it will be impossible to deal with whatever happens in life and use my willpower, exert energy to resist that cigarette. So I'm going to relapse, because willpower doesn't work, because willpower doesn't last. Willpower is a state of resistance. It means I want to smoke, I want to vape, but I go against my desire. So I am in a constant state of fighting it. So that's hard. That's hard, because what you resist persists. And the thing is that the more I resist smoking with willpower, the more I tell myself, don't smoke, or you shouldn't smoke, or this and that bad thing will happen to you if you smoke. What I'm doing is that all my existence, all my thinking revolves around cigarettes. So, in truth, and what nobody talks about is that willpower makes us more addicted, because it makes smoking seem precious, because it is a state of deprivation. Now, if you want to learn more about it, and if you don't know where to start, again, attending my free quit smoking masterclass is the best next step. I'm going to talk about willpower. I'm going to talk about mind power, how to reprogram the mind, and really how quitting smoking works based on cognitive behavioral science. That's it. If you've been stuck, this is the very first step. And you will also be able to learn more about our amazing CBQ Quit Smoking program. Louis says, I loved being the Ask an Ex. It was a wonderful experience. Yes, we had a great time. I love to hear that, Louis. And thank you so much for sharing your story. Simona says, I was about to go for a nap, but I noticed a post on Facebook about this YouTube Saturday Hangouts, so I didn't want to go to sleep anymore. I love that. Isn't it amazing to want to show up for yourself for something like this? Because when we think about quitting smoking, because of our past experiences, of course, it feels like such a horrible, dreadful, um, just bad thing. But when we are able to shift our mindset and see it as a fun and exciting adventure into transforming ourselves and letting go of an addiction so we can be freer and happier, it's just a different thing. Jeffrey says, I quit smoking for 18 months and took up a language which created a lot of stress and anxiety. I fell back into smoking. How can I get my freedom back? I took up a language to take my mind away from smoking, yet it took me back to smoking. Now I am addicted. Okay, Jeffrey, let's break this down, okay? Because it's not the language that made you smoke. It's that you were in an existing state of deprivation and avoidance. So, whatever you try to do to take your mind away from smoking, eventually it would have taken you back because you tried to treat the symptom. Oh, I want to distract myself. But you didn't address the problem, which is the desire for smoking to begin with, your mental addiction that we all have as smokers. So it's not the language the problem. I want you to know it's not your fault. And it's not that you took up a language or that it was stress and anxiety. Those were the triggers, but they were not the reasons. The reason is that you stopped your smoking behavior, but still in your mind, you were thinking like a smoker, feeling like a smoker, and psychologically operating like a smoker. So eventually, your behavior of smoking came back because we're always acting in consistency with how we see ourselves. So, unless I change how I see myself, unless I change how I think about smoking, then I will always end up smoking again. When I think like a smoker, sooner or later, I will act like a smoker. Does that make sense? This is the principle of consistency in psychology. Very, very powerful. So it's not your fault. So my invitation to you is back to the drawing board and see, what does smoking offer me? Where does it live in my life, in my mind, in my emotions, and start picking it up from there. Now, if you haven't already done so, register for my free quit smoking masterclass because everything is going to make a lot more sense. Highly, highly recommend it. You can register by going to cbqwebinar.com. But it's not your fault. You just never reprogrammed your mind. That's it. That's it. Sean says, I don't want to smoke, but I still light up. So here's the thing. When we're addicted, we out of two minds. There is the addicted you, and there is the real you. The addicted you has one goal and one goal only, to get you to stay addicted. That's it. That's its only job. And it does that very, very well. The real you has different goals. It wants you to be free and healthy. That's why, as smokers, we have that constant internal conflict and guilt, because there are two parts of us just battling each other. A part of us, the addicted part, wants us to be addicted. The other part of us wants us to be healthy. So, what you're experiencing is, I don't want to smoke. I don't want to be a smoker. I don't want to be addicted. But if you keep lighting up, this is what it means. It means at least a small part of you still finds a value in smoking. And of course, there is also the behavioral addiction. But I don't want you to disregard that there is a small part of you that still finds value in smoking. So ask yourself, what would happen if I didn't smoke? What would happen if I quit today? And all the fears from your addiction, they're going to come up, and you're going to have an answer as to why you smoke, or where your mental addiction is strongest, because that's why we smoke, because we're addicted. But you want to be more specific in recognizing what parts of the mental addiction are holding you back. It's not an illogical thing. There is something there. Okay. Simona says, for Luis, thank you for doing it, Luis. I will watch it in the evening. Are you in the Facebook group? Yes. I'm just answering on behalf of Luis, but Luis, if you see that, of course, answer. Yes, Luis is in the Facebook group, and she's in our members Facebook group and the CBQ Method Facebook group, which is for everyone who wants to discover the CBQ Method. So Luis is there. She's making posts, sharing her milestones. So yes, she's there. Maybe pick a different hobby and do the CBQ program, Simona says, for Jeffrey. I mean, 100%. And I like that you said both, because it's not just about the hobby. It's about first changing the reprogramming, and then we're able to do any hobby. The language, sports, whatever it may be. But it has to come after the foundation, after the transformation really happens, because a hobby is not going to take away our addiction. So we have to put the foundation there. Sean says, thank you for putting sense into something that made no sense to me before. I'm really glad this was helpful. Really glad. And thank you for asking that question. I will reevaluate my thinking and really ask myself why. I identify it's behavioral. And it is. You're right. It is behavioral. But there is something mental there as well. Simona says, will I be ready by day 10 of this program? Yes, you will be ready. But I don't want you to worry about that, because right now you're not there yet. You're not on day 10 yet. But by day 10, you will be ready. And even day 10 of the program, I have a lesson that's called Last Doubts Index, where you get to reassess yourself, how ready you are. So by day 10, you will be ready. You're going to have full control. And tell me, Simone, will you be doing the program at your own pace, or you're doing one program day on each calendar day? So I can understand if you're asking time-wise or preparation-wise, if you're going to be ready. I am trying to do each day. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Trying to do each day of the program on one day is great. But like we talked about in the group and on Wednesday's call, if one day of the program you need more time, you can absolutely do it at your own pace. So as long as you're doing each day properly and you're giving yourself this time to explore and do the exercises and the lessons, there is no way you're not going to be ready by day 10. You're going to be ready and excited. Preparation-wise, you're golden. Yes. Especially when you know that, oh, I need a bit more time for this module or this step. You allow yourself to have that extra time. So in terms of the process, it's designed to make you ready by day 10, 100%. Okay, Louis says, yes, I am in the groups. The groups kept me strong throughout my quit for smoking and sugar, and I'm forever grateful to all the communities. Amazing. Louis, you're the best. And Simona, come to also as well on Wednesdays, next Wednesday's members Q&A call, because we're going to talk about more of those things. Well, thank you. You're very welcome. Joanne, welcome, Joanne. How do you get off the fence and go for it? Why do I hesitate? So I don't know if you were at the beginning of the call, because we talked about the importance of preparation and how change happens before our quit date. But it's not about getting off the fence. It's really about understanding what keeps you on the fence, because the fence is a very uncomfortable place to be, isn't it? Like, you're not fully smoking, you're not fully quit, you're in that limbo place where I'm like trying, not doing it. It's very stressful and exhausting, isn't it? So ask yourself, what's holding me back? You have the answer, because if I give you an answer, it will be the answer based on my experience of helping people for the last 10 years. But I want you to dive into your own mind and find your own answer, because you're going to connect more with what you find about yourself. So ask yourself, what is holding me back? What am I afraid will happen if I no longer smoke cigarettes? What am I afraid will happen, or what am I worried will happen if I quit smoking now, right now? And when you put your addicted mind, when you push your addicted mind in the corner, then it's going to give you the answer of exactly what's holding you back. It's going to tell you all your fears. You won't be able to cope. You will be lonely. You will not be able to connect with your spouse that is a smoker. You will not be able to socialize or focus on your work, because that's what our craving mind does. It makes us catastrophize. It tells us, oh, if you don't smoke in the morning, then you're going to be cranky and stressed all day, and you're going to overeat, and everything will be horrible today. It's going to be a bad, bad day if you don't start by smoking. Or it tells us that if you don't smoke, you're not going to be able to focus on your work, and you're going to get fired, and your whole family will suffer, and you're going to be alone. We catastrophize because this is how our craving mind convinces us to light up the next cigarette. So, understanding that and then reprogramming that, releasing that is really the key to breaking free. It's not about just pushing through or using willpower or forcing yourself, it's about releasing it. So, quitting smoking is not about giving up, it's about letting go. Simona says, I need to write a letter today. Thank you for your time and asking. You're so very welcome. Enjoy the day 3 goodbye letter. It's a great exercise. And a piece of advice when you're doing that exercise in the program, or really any exercise, let it be easy. That's my mantra for everything. Let it be easy, because our perfectionism can take over and we can let something be very, very hard, but we can also let it be easy. So put a timer for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just allow yourself to free associate and write whatever it is on your mind. That's it. Make it very easy. Then reread your letter, and you can always add things. You can go back to it and add things. So it doesn't have to be final. Just put everything down, because the first step is usually the hardest, to let it out. Awesome. Joanne says, I love that releasing. Thank you. You're very welcome. Simona says, thank you. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Thank you. I was worried about it. You're not alone. You're not alone. Because we want to make it perfect, because we care, because we want to be successful, and we care a lot. But let it be easy. You can always improve, fix it later. The first step is getting it out of you without any judgment or restrictions. So a timer and just free associate. That's the way to do it. Great. Do you have any final questions? And while you're typing those, because we're close to the end, I want to say what is the third quit smoking mistake. And I mean, they're not just 3, but those 3 are big ones. So the third quit smoking mistake is that we believe the past equals the future. What do I mean by that? That just because we failed before, just because we struggled before, just because quitting smoking, quitting vaping was hard before, that it will always be hard. Just because the past was a certain way, that the future will be the same way as well. But that is a fallacy. The past does not equal the future. What really happens is that when we try to quit smoking, because we use willpower, because we don't overcome our mental and behavioral addiction, we try to quit smoking, then we fail, we blame ourselves, and then our belief that we can do it becomes less and less and less. And in psychology, this is called learned helplessness. It's when we have failed so many times at something, and it's been so painful, that then we lose our hope and our ability to try again. And when we do try again, we half do it because we want to protect our ego and tell ourselves, like, oh, I didn't give my best, that's why I failed. So that's learned helplessness, and that creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. But here's the truth. The only reason, if you have failed to quit smoking before, if quitting smoking has been hard in the past, it's not your personal flaw, it's not your personal fault. It's simply because you didn't overcome your mental and behavioral addiction. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all there is to it. Nothing wrong about you. So the past repeats itself only when we're doing the same thing. When we do a different thing, we get what? A different result. So don't internalize any past setbacks or failures, but really go inside and see, what can I do differently? What can I discover that I didn't know before? Because what I learned early on is that there is no failure, only feedback. So if we embrace the wrong turns of our journey and we see every setback as feedback, not as failure, then we're able to have precious information on how to move forward and really reclaim our health and our freedom and succeed. So if you want to learn more about how the CBQ method works, how the CBQ program works, what are the 3 quit smoking secrets that big tobacco doesn't want you to know, doesn't want any smoker to know, and how to break free, please make sure you register for my upcoming Quit Smoking Masterclass at cbqwebinar.com. We're going to talk about willpower. We're going to talk about the importance of reprogramming the mind and the blueprint of the CBQ method and how you can take the next step in your own life. So go to cbqwebinar.com. My team will share the link in a moment. And let me read any final comments. Okay. So you're very, very welcome, Simona. Astrid, you're so very welcome. Sean, would you recommend staying away from alcohol while attempting to stop smoking? So if alcohol is part of your life, well, I have more questions for you, Sean, to be able to answer. If alcohol is something that you're struggling to release and it's an area that you want to let go of anyway, then you can definitely quit smoking and alcohol together. But if you're drinking, if you're having one drink once in a while and you're just worried that the drink will trigger you to smoke and relapse, then you don't have to quit anything in your life. You don't have to stop alcohol just so you can quit smoking. Like I was saying earlier, you don't have to quit coffee just so you can quit smoking. You don't have to avoid learning a new language just so you can quit smoking. You don't have to avoid anything. In fact, the best way to go about it is to experience those situations as a non-smoker, because that's how you rewire the brain. But the key difference is not to experience those situations in a state of deprivation, because that doesn't reprogram the brain. Because when we're deprived and we're not happy, and we tell ourselves, oh my God, I hate what's happening here. I'm deprived. All I want is to smoke. I'm missing out. The brain does not look forward to experiencing this again. But when we experience our old triggers, whether it's coffee or alcohol or stress or relaxation, as a happy, content non smoker, this gives our brain a new piece of information and ultimately serves towards rewiring our brain. Immense gratitude to you and your team. You're so very welcome. Thank you for being here. And Simone says, masterclass is great. Invest that time for yourself, guys. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. It's going to answer so many questions. It's going to give you so much clarity, and it's going to empower you to see what you want your next step to be. Teresa says, thank you so much, Nasia and your team, for always being here for anyone, for us all of the time. Of course, that's what I'm here for. I love this. I love talking to you. I love helping people. I love CBQ. I love our program members. Of course, I'm here to answer your questions and serve you in any way that I can. The steam bath, I'm reading this one and then I'm going to close this. Does steam bath help in reducing cravings during withdrawal? A steam bath would help in detoxing a bit faster after quitting smoking, but it will not do anything for your cravings. Now, if in a loosely connected link, a steam bath makes you feel more relaxed and more psychologically grounded, that's a different story. But steam bath is not going to help at all with cravings. But if it makes you happy, then of course, do it. But it will help physically for detox. But of course, if we do a steam bath and then we smoke again, there is no detox really that happened. The only way, I'm going to say this because I don't want to leave you with a half answer about cravings. There are two types of cravings: physical cravings and mental cravings. Physical cravings, they pass by unnoticed and they go away 3 to 5 days after stopping smoking or tobacco or vaping or all forms of nicotine, because that's when nicotine leaves the body. So that's it, 5 days, the physical cravings. And they're so subtle. What makes us smoke? What makes us relapse days, weeks, months after quitting smoking is not the physical cravings, is our mental cravings. Mental cravings are just positive thoughts about smoking that create positive feelings about smoking. Mental cravings are thoughts. So, part of reprogramming your brain to no longer want to smoke is also learning how to dissolve those craving thoughts so that they won't trigger you and they won't lead you to smoke. And again, we're going to talk about that more during the Quit Smoking Masterclass at civicwebinar.com. Definitely register. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to learn a lot. So last one. Okay, I know I'm saying bye-bye, but I cannot leave you guys hanging. So that's the last question I'm going to answer. And then we're going to close it, okay? So I smoked cigarettes for 8 years and vaping since the last 1 month. Before I quit smoking for 22 days. Now again, I'm quitting. Suddenly I found your live. It's divine intervention. So I love that. I'm going to have the recording on our YouTube channel. So watch it back. It's going to help you a lot. So again, thank you all so much for joining me, for asking questions and participating. I look forward to seeing you on the Quit Smoking Masterclass and seeing you again next time. Bye-bye.